Hello everyone, my name is Trish Conner-Cato. Welcome to the WordPress video course. This course is for anyone new to WordPress or who is self-taught on the product. Each category would make a good candidate for this course. No prior WordPress knowledge is needed. No prior web development or programming skills are required. This course is designed for non-technical users who are more interested in content management and search engine optimization than the technical aspects of website creation. The first module will spend some time introducing you to WordPress by understanding the common terms used and why you should choose WordPress. You'll learn about the WordPress family and about WordPress features. You'll also learn how to tap into online WordPress resources for further learning and how to stay updated with WordPress news. We'll also cover how to access the WordPress Codex, which is its official online manual for the software. We'll end the first module by learning how to get support from other users and how to use theme and plugin directories. We'll get started in WordPress in Module 2 by getting and installing WordPress and move on to exploring the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. We'll then learn how to navigate the dashboard panel, also known as WP-admin panel, and how to get a gravatar before building a website. In the third module, you'll learn about WordPress admin conventions and posting on your blog. We'll cover discussion on your blog and how to add and manage categories in this module. You should know that I do have files in the video description that we will be using during this course, so you may want to pause the video, download those files, and put them in the same folder somewhere on your computer for easy access. So in this module, you will be introduced to WordPress via several lessons. The first of which is understanding the common terms that are used in the software. We'll then discuss why you should consider choosing WordPress and move on to getting to know the WordPress family. We'll continue by reviewing the rich feature set in WordPress before you'll learn how to access online WordPress resources for further learning. You'll also learn how to stay updated with WordPress news, and then we'll move on to understanding the codex and how to get support from other users. And then I'll show you how you would be using theme and plugin directories in the software. And we'll be hands-on in the software starting in Module 2. So the first thing we're going to tackle is understanding the common terms used while you'll be working with WordPress. One of the major challenges of working with a new software is learning what things are called. If you have to ask a question about something, it would be helpful if you could reference it by its correct terms. So I've included this slide with a link to a Word document that's in the same directory. And so again, you'll have this for your future reference, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up the document. There are a few developer terms in here as well, and I'm not going to go over all of these definitions with you. I'll point out the things that I think are most pertinent right here. And that would be, the first one would be core, and that references WordPress's default features and functionality without any user customization. So WordPress out of the box is generally referenced as its core. The dashboard is also known as WP/admin. It's the place you would go to when managing your site. And you'll see when we get in that along the top you'll have a toolbar of quick options, and you'll have a sidebar on the left that contains the different panels relating to your site's functionality. Domain name is important in this list. That's the address of your website on the internet, and you'll have to have a domain in order to get into WordPress. Depending on your hosting site, you can get a free domain for like a year. Hosting is the next one I'll cover. It's where your website is stored. So it's a high-powered server stored in a safe location. Pages and posts. They both let you display content on your site. Pages are more permanent, and I just noticed the typo there, so I will fix that. And posts are transient. Pages don't change very much and are considered static. In contrast, posts, also known as articles, blogs, blog posts, are dated and archived for future reading, but are designed to be replaced with similar yet fresher content on a regular basis. Permalinks, you'll hear them referred to as slugs. Those are the readable URL you'll navigate to on the web. WordPress lets you choose a number of different formats for permalinks, although it defaults to the post or page title. It's readable and is simple to remember for a visitor. Then we have plugins. Plugins handle the functionality of your site. So, for example, there's a plugin called Really Simple SSL, which helps you transition to more secure site connections. And there's one called WordFence, and that's a top-notch security plugin. So the core, WordPress out of the box, does not really have much functionality. You add functionality to your site via plugins. SEO, you'll hear this term a lot. Stands for Search Engine Optimization. And it's the process of improving your website to increase visibility in Google, Microsoft Bing, and other search engines whenever people search for products you sell, services you provide, or information on topics in which you have deep expertise and/or experience. The better visibility your pages have in search results, the more likely you are to be found and clicked on. Ultimately, the goal of SEO is to help attract website visitors who will become customers, clients, or an audience that keeps coming back. So if you're watching this video, it's because you're either already using WordPress or you're interested in using WordPress. So let's discuss the reasons why people choose to use WordPress. It is free, and it can be used to create any type of website. The software itself is free, but you do need a domain name and web hosting to install it. It is easy to use. It is completely customizable, and out of the box, it is SEO friendly. There are plugins that can help with that as well. It is safe and secure, and it is here to stay. And that's because it's open source software, which means it's not maintained by one person or company. So it's open source, it's not going anywhere, it's really used widely across a multitude of audiences. When you hear about the WordPress family, it's referring to 3 different components of WordPress. So the family role, head of household, is occupied by the WordPress core, WordPress out of the box. The core of functionality has remained relatively unchanged, with the exception of a new editor. There is one part that is continuously being updated on the core, and that is security. The spouse role in a family is occupied by the theme you use in WordPress. Like any relationship, compatibility is a large factor in the success of the union. A theme controls the visual elements of your site, what layout you can use, and core parts of how your site can function as well. So the theme is the spouse. And then you have the children of the family. So I mentioned earlier that the WordPress core by itself does not have much functionality. A massive number of plugins can cover almost any functionality you are looking for. Plugins, therefore, are like the children. They need to be watched to make sure they don't misbehave, and they don't always play well with one another. I guess the same could be said outside of the child age years. So the head of the household is the WordPress core. The spouse would be your theme, which controls the visual elements of your site, and the children would be the plugins. So let's get into some of the features in WordPress. I have a few slides just on the features here. So you have exchangeable designs using themes, the spouse. You can extend functionality through plugins, the children. You have access to unlimited posts and pages, categories and subcategories, and tags. Responsive design, so it will work and read well and be accessible easily from mobile devices. It is very flexible. It supports multiple types of websites, from blogs to e-commerce. It's scalable, which means it can handle any size of website. And it gives you the ability to post on your site via email and mobile devices. It's also in compliance with W3C standards, depending on the theme you're using. You can import data from other blogs, and it's easy to administer and blog without any experience. In addition, WordPress has a convenient, fully functional built-in search feature. It is multilingual with good internationalization, provides secure code. You have the ability to password protect content. You have comments manager and spam protection built in. What's really nice and lends to its ease of use is its built-in workflow, where it's simple. You write, you draft, review, and publish. You have intelligent text and content editing via a visual editor, multi-user and multi-author support for user accounts, and a feature-rich media library for managing photos and other non-text content. It also has social media integration capabilities. As a matter of fact, later on in Module 5, in my must-have pack of plugins, there's one that can kind of fill that social media need for you. WordPress also provides you with dynamic and scalable revision functionality. So if you have to roll back changes, it's relatively easy to do in WordPress. You have built-in embed functionality through shortcodes, so it's compatible with YouTube, Vimeo, so on and so forth. Your admin panel is accessible via all modern devices, operating systems, and browsers. It has full accessibility for front-end elements of the website, which is what your visitors see. User-friendly image editing, plus it has a drag-and-drop image importing feature. There's advanced SEO features available through plugins and themes. And it also has an integrated REST API infrastructure. So that's an interface that two computer systems use to exchange information securely over the internet. Very rich feature set at the core, but then also through plugins and themes, you can get more features and functionality. So at this point, we're going to go to different websites in reference to lessons 5 through 8. So I have a Word document named Useful Links in the files from the video descriptions, and it would be helpful if you open that document. Or if you've already opened a slideshow, you can just click like it is on my screen to view that Useful Links document. Either way, we want to go ahead and access it. So in Module 2, in the first lesson, we'll learn about the two different worlds of WordPress, which is the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. But each of those entities has online WordPress resources, and they're listed there, learning more with online WordPress resources for Module 1, Lesson 5. The first one is a link to WordPress.org, and I'm going to go ahead and control click to follow that link. This learn.wordpress.org site, it gives you the ability, if you look, you can see you can learn WordPress, right? Whether you're seasoned or first timer, there's resources from community members all over the world that you will learn about on this site. You can search for a learning resource, and as you scroll down, you can browse tutorials, you can access lesson plans, there's recent courses, and you have the ability to view all courses, right? And they range the gamut over everything. And then you can view all tutorials that are out here on the site as well. There are also always online workshops that are going on, so you have the ability to view all of them and join the ones that are of interest. And then if you want to get involved in creating the content for learning WordPress, you can learn how to contribute. And so it runs the gamut. It's an excellent resource for you to have at your fingertips. You might want to save this page to your favorites if you're going to be using it to extend your learning. By the way, you can also get news here. You can download themes, plugins, all kinds of things here. Under the Learn tab, we're on Learn WordPress, but you have documentation, there's forums, there's WordPress TV, and then you have a community there as well. So that is one of the sites. And the second one that we're going to look at is from WordPress.com. And so I'm back to my Useful Links document, and I'm going to access that second link. So this is another site where you can experience more learning about WordPress, right? This one is the WordPress.com Learn site. So it has over here getting the most from WordPress. And as you scroll down, you could go to, you could get help, right? You can attend webinars, courses, and then you have a community where people share their knowledge on building websites. You can go by WordPress.com, browse those articles. And there is also a YouTube channel. And then down at the bottom, under I Need Help With, you can get support documentation, support forums. You can get access to those. And if you'd like to upgrade your plans and stuff like that. So if you just scroll that site, it's organized a little bit differently. It offers similar content to the .org site. And across the top, you have products, you have features, right? And then there's a resources drop down that you can access to get support and news and things of that nature as well. So for future learning, you can either go to WordPress.org, WordPress.com. People use both. A lot of times in WordPress itself, you'll get splashes in there of news, but you can use either .org or .com to get news about WordPress. And I added a third link there. The WordPress Tavern is a community that has a lot of information as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and access the wordpress.org/news link first. So you'll get a feel for what this looks like. So this is the same site we were on for Learn, but it's on the News tab at the top. Same site, just a different tab. So it's giving information about the latest release, and you can see all releases, right? And so you get previews. You have this month in WordPress out there for February 2023. So all kinds of news. It highlights different people, the people of WordPress. You can even subscribe to the news so you don't have to go to the site. If you put your email address in, you'll get the news automatically. And then there is also a podcast, and it's historical, so you can go back and listen to all episodes. The second link there under Module 6 takes you back to WordPress.com. And again, this one here, this is, definitely the news site here, right? And what's new on WordPress.com, so they're giving you stuff about the sites. A new home for WordPress.com courses, just information, some learning things, ideas, what's new on this site, various information. It's like saying here are the new WordPress themes for January 2023. You can get to all posts from this year as well from this site. Last but not least, we'll visit the WordPress Tavern site. And so this has a news tab at the top. You're on news, right? But the drop down, opinion, plugins, themes, events. And so if I go down and I'm just like looking at recent posts, right? There's a post, WordPress 6.2 RC1 was released and ready for testing, right? And so you can read that information. There's some advertisements on here or recommendations, right? Here's a free WordPress block theme with 30 patterns, 30 plus patterns. WordPress Engine Pattern Manager plugin is now in beta. So various news information related to the software. And this is called the WordPress Tavern. So out of these three sites, the .org is the one that you can subscribe so you can get the news delivered to your email. Now we're ready to access the WordPress Codex. The Codex is the official online manual for WordPress software. It holds documentation, tips, and advice for users. So I'm going to go ahead and access that link. You might want to save that to your favorites on your browser so that you have instant access to it as well. Now, this is also from WordPress.org, right? So what you most need to know about WordPress, if you want to learn about the features, you can click here, installing it, the current version. You can get to news and support forums from here as well as troubleshooting and a glossary of terms. They have a section, learn how to use WordPress, working with themes, writing a plugin, if you want to write a plugin, or you can just use the plugins that are already available to you. You can contribute to the development or give back, which is about, volunteerism. So this is the Codex. I'm going to go back up to the top. I can over here go down and get to the lessons, getting started, all of the things, right? I can access the community portal under Codex resources, current events, recent changes, and there is a help link. So I would really recommend that you just save this page to favorites at some point, as you may want to access it on and off throughout your WordPress journey. There is a host of information out there that is from other WordPress users that you can use to get support, and it's via the WordPress.com forum. So for lesson 8, that's what we're going to go to, that link, to get to the forums. You can search questions, keywords, and topics, right? You can add a new topic. There's a drop down. You're looking at all forums. There's an education community, translations, and support are your choices there. We're looking at all topics. You have the ability to look at open topics with no replies, most popular topics, and there is a more drop down, non-support topics, resolved topics, and unresolved topics. So you can filter your list here. The first topic on the list, new to WordPress.com, resources to get started. If you've just created your WordPress.com site and not sure where to start, here's a handy list of some resources that will help you with it. And I can click on that. And it takes me into that topic, right? So it gives me all of these different links to getting to webinars, courses, tips for using the full site editor, so on and so forth. It talks about other tutorials that are out there, and there's a link to them. And then video tutorials about making money with your site, blogging, and getting started with WooCommerce there as well. Now, I can always here use what I call the breadcrumb trail to go back. So I'm back at my original list. There is the best practices and community standards post, so on and so forth. Sometimes when I can't figure out something, I'll come in here and be able to find someone that had the same issue and was able to figure it out. So I would suggest that you get plugged in to the forums. So just to give you a little bit of an inkling of the directory structure from within WordPress, and you'll see this in the next module, specifically theme and plugin directories. So there is a WP-content directory, which has a themes folder in it. And inside that themes folder, you'll see all of the theme files in their separate folders. And then it does the same thing for plugin files. They're under a folder called plugins. So these directories are stored on your web hosting server. And most of the WordPress hosting control panels allow access to File Manager, where you can see all of the different directories and gain access to the things that you have in WordPress. So just a little structure for you to understand that everything is stored on your web hosting server, but you'll have access to it typically from the hosting control panel. So in Module 1, you got an introduction to WordPress. We started by going over some common terms, and there's a lot more that you'll run across. We talked about the reasons why people choose WordPress. You got to know the WordPress family. The WordPress core is the head of the household. Themes are the spouse, and plugins are the children. We reviewed many of the rich features of WordPress. And then we started going into our common links file So you can go to either wordpress.org or wordpress.com for additional learning resources to further your education in the application. You also learned how to stay updated with WordPress news. You can subscribe to news from the .org link. We went into the WordPress Codex, the official manual for the software. And you learned how to get to the forums so that you could get support from other users. We ended by talking about where things are stored and the directory structure. And when we get into the next module, and once you get into WordPress and everything, I'll show you how to access those directories. In Module 2, we'll be getting started with WordPress. The first lesson, you'll learn the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. And then we'll start getting and installing WordPress. And we will be installing through an auto installer script. You'll learn more about that and why that's going to happen in a bit. And then we're going to review what's known as the WP-admin panel, commonly called the dashboard. And you'll get a comprehensive tour of WordPress interface so that you'll know how to navigate within it. And we'll end up by getting a gravatar. You'll learn what that is. And as a part of that lesson, you'll learn about the user roles and capabilities in WordPress. There are two worlds to WordPress. There is WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Both are backed by the same people. There's a ton of collaboration between the two. They each cater to a different market segment. They each have their own personality, community, and culture. .com provides hosting and a platform in which to build your site using WordPress software. .org does not provide hosting, and it's not even a platform as it's often referred to. It is a website hub that houses information, downloads, resources, and a community. So, again, we've been on both of these sites. They both have areas that overlap where you can learn more about WordPress, the software. They both have some sort of news about the application, but they're both backed by the same people, and there's a ton of collaboration. But WordPress.com is what you're using for your website. So let's go ahead and work on getting and installing WordPress. As mentioned, you need both web hosting and a domain name to use WordPress. There are a host of web hosting providers to choose from. The one I am using is Bluehost. It is officially recommended by WordPress.org and has an easy-to-use dashboard. So I do have a list of like 11 of the best WordPress hosting companies as of March 2023 from themeisle.com that I'll bring up on the screen for you. And you'll see that it has the list of 11, right? Bluehost is on the list. Hostinger is on the list. I've used both of those. I'm currently using Bluehost. And it tells you the pricing, the uptime, load time, traffic, rating. And then if I scroll down on the screen, it gives you the details for every hosting provider. So, like I mentioned, I'm using Bluehost, but if you're using a different provider, that is fine. This is really your choice. I can't help you make it. You know, I can just tell you I'm currently using Bluehost. That's not an endorsement or anything like that. You need to be comfortable with the choice you make. Although the installation instructions I'm going to give you are based off of Bluehost. Should be similar to any other hosting site.